Hello again, everybody. So I got most of my squares or my rectangles glued on the inside. I left this last one to do with you again, just to kind of go over it and make sure everybody's got it down. So here's my last one that I need to do. I actually got another brush because it was easier to brush on with a smaller brush. So it should take you about 30 minutes to do this part of the project. And honestly, this is the most tedious and hardest part of the project, I promise. But it's well worth it. All the little details that you put into this just make it so much more beautiful, I think. Just a thin layer. You'll get better at this as you go. I got pretty quick at it as time goes on. You just don't want big globs of glue. They never dry right, and then they never sit right either after they dry. If you've ever done a card and the glue kind of bubbles and it just doesn't sit right, these little details will make a huge difference where that's concerned. You want it to stick, but you don't want big globs of glue, and you don't want wrinkling and bubbling in your project either. So here's the last little strip of glue. Just take your triangle, fit it in there perfectly. Again, you got to go real slow here. Make sure you're covering everything and there's no edges that are going over. Press that down really good. On some of these I had where they lifted up here in the seam just a little bit. You can actually take your little brush with a tiny bit of glue and go underneath that if that happens. It's not a big deal. Flip that back over. Reinforce that fold. Okay, now we have all of our little heart cutouts covered with our paper. And then you're just going to continue to fold on these score lines. Press them down. Now you have these 5 squares that are meant for the outside of the box, the 4 for the outside, and this one is going to go in the middle here. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your dot glue runner, flip this over, place it here, put this right in the center of your box. Now we're going to glue down the envelopes. So like I mentioned before, like this darker color to be on the outside. Use your creativity to decide what works best for you. Just make sure you're consistent throughout. So I'm going to take my glue dot runner, put a couple here. This is totally repositional, which is great. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same on this side. And what I like to do, just to reinforce this, because they will come unstuck sometimes, so I just take one dot of hot glue. I don't like to hot glue the whole thing again because you get bubbles in the cardstock and it just doesn't look good, but this just makes sure that it's going to stay down there. Again, you want to make sure you've got the same color going on the inside. A couple strips of your glue. Same here, with just a touch of hot glue on the end. on all four sides. Glue. And the inside of your box is pretty much done except for the cake. So then you're just going to flip this over. If you have designs that you're using on the outside that have a top and bottom, just pay attention to where you're putting these so you're not upside down or sideways. And then you're just going to take your glue dot runner again. Center them just like that. You get these little pieces of glue that float around. It drives me insane. Okay, you're gonna have, that is the outside of your box. Now we're gonna work on the little inserts that go inside. I already did 3 of them because I want to, in the interest of time. So this is how they look when we're finished, and they just slide in here like this. And then I'll show you how. So you take, you'll get 4 larger squares and 4 smaller squares. You just take the smaller square, run your glue dots, center it. Then if you have a fancy hole punch, I have this little heart hole punch, but a regular hole punch will do. This just kind of adds a little bit more decoration to it. You're just going to punch out in the corner. Then you're going to take your piece of ribbon, fold it in half, run it through the heart, run the ends through the loop, and you can just snip off these ends just a little bit. And then you're just going to put that in there like so. I'll move these around once I start getting into really decorating, but that's how the inside of your box looks. And then the cake will be in another tutorial along with how to do all of your little decorations on the inside.